Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Now, you are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Captains and everyone in attendance, welcome to Baltimore for the Army-Navy football game. This is your umpire, Anthony Gibson. My name is Tim Rich, and it's our crew's honor to be working this game today with you all. Joining me for the coin toss, it is my honor and privilege to introduce the Commander-in-Chief, our President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
There you go. There you go. You know, I had kind of planned on opening the show with this for a while, and we've got a lot of news happening. A lot of bad news over the weekend. A lot of bad news happening over the weekend. A lot of good news happening over the weekend as well. And I thought that I would open with that because I'm not here to break news to you. I am not a journalist. I am someone who is here to inform you and entertain you, maybe even motivate you if I can. And that's what I'm going to do today. We have much to be upset about. We have much to be angry about. But I'm going to also focus on the good. And one of the good things that happened this weekend was the Army-Navy game and the rekindling of patriotism in America. America is back. All of the haters who have tried to tear us down, who have kneeled during anthems, have burned American flags, have torn down statues, all of you will be left in the dustbin of history as we go into the 250th anniversary of this glorious, the greatest country in the history of mankind that dragged us out of the dark ages. London and Paris existed for 1,000 years, and when we were founded, they were still using the streets as a latrine. They had the same natural resources, they had the same people, and they weren't able to do anything. But it took America, with its First Amendment backed by its Second Amendment, and acknowledging that our rights come from God, and that's what made us into the greatest engine of individual and economic freedom in the history of mankind.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous skies o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red red of bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
Absolutely amazing. And I don't think any of the troops, any of the cadets in that stadium would question an order from Donald Trump and defy an order from Donald Trump, making the legality of such order under their own decision. Okay, so there you go. Stick it, Dems. Stick it where the sun don't shine. Meanwhile, President Pudding for Brains was at an Eagles game, and he could barely string a sentence together.
I give it go Birds?
Go Birds, man. All the way. We got to win the Super Bowl again. How cool is it to be here today, President?
And nobody cared he was there. The president who got 81 million votes Sure he did. Yeah. He got 81 million votes. And, of course, Nancy Pelosi said should go on Mount Rushmore on. I mean, actually, she said Mount Rushmore. I said, no, we should make another mountain, call it Mount Rushmoron, and put his face on it because he was the worst president ever. So there's that. Here's another bit of good news before we dive into all the other stuff that's happening. 2 weeks ago, a man named Philip Rivers was coaching at St. Michael's Catholic High School, their football team, in the state semifinals. This weekend, this is what Grandpa did.
3rd down and 4. Rivers, and he's got a man, touchdown! That's Josh Downs, and that's Philip Rivers with a touchdown pass. The 422nd touchdown pass of his career.
Comes out of retirement. He's a grandpa. He's 44 years old. Throws a TD for the Colts. Fantastic story. It reminds me of The Rookie with Kevin Costner. It came out a few years ago about a baseball player who'd been coaching baseball in a small team, and the kid said, "Will you try out for the majors again if we win the state championship?" And they did, and he did, and he played. It was amazing. I wanted to share those stories with you. This weekend, I was out and about, and I was taking it all in, doing my level best to be joyous. And I went to Annapolis this weekend. I saw the Classic Theater of Maryland production of A Christmas Carol. It was magnificent, a small cast, not a high-budget production, but a magnificent show. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Afterwards, I bought pizza for the cast members and went backstage and met them all. It was absolutely wonderful. Went up to the Reynolds Tavern. I didn't drink. I went up to the Reynolds Tavern, which is owned by the same lady who owns the Classic Theater, and I watched the cast members, several of them, sing Christmas carols outside, and there was joy. And there was joy, and there was beauty, and it was cold, and we all sang along, and it was amazing. And then also, I went out to witness Wreaths Across America on Saturday. I went to the cemetery here in Old Town Alexandria and saw thousands of people bringing these wreaths, laying wreaths on the graves of Civil War soldiers, black people and white people and Asian people, and presumably straight people and gay people. Nobody cared. And I saw the same thing when I was in Annapolis at the Veterans Cemetery there, and it was glorious. It was beautiful. And I think about this, and I said this online, I said, they gave us everything. They have nothing to give because they gave us everything. And I could think of no greater tribute other than Memorial Day than that Americans would come together to lay wreaths on the graves. Millions across the country did this over the weekend on Saturday, and it was something else. It was something to behold. And I got to tell you, guys, one of the things that I really try to do, and sometimes it's really damn hard, but I've tried to say that we have to overwhelm the left with joy and patriotism because we're in it knee-deep. We're knee-deep in a fight right now for the survival of America and for the survival of the civilized world, and we're going to win. We are going to win. We are stronger in numbers. We are stronger in will. We are stronger intellectually and morally. We are stronger not only physically, but also intellectually as well, meaning that we have the ability to take on all comers. And they're coming at us, by the way. They are coming at us. Here is a story breaking out of Los Angeles today.
Breaking news, 10 minutes past the hour. This news happening out of Los Angeles. The FBI now reports that it's disrupted a planned New Year's Eve terror attack in Los Angeles. 4 suspects in custody, the FBI identifying them as members of a pro-Palestine extremist group. They're suspected of planning...
They're radical Islamists.
...coordinated IED attacks targeting 5 different locations in Los Angeles. But
this on the heels of another thwarted attack in Michigan about a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Based on the reporting now, that plot has been foiled. We will wait for more out of L.A. or out of Washington, D.C. for what the FBI has...
And imagine what would have happened if Kamala Harris would have become the president of the United States. Imagine what would have happened if Kamala Harris became the president of the United States. We would have an open southern border. We would have an FBI still pursuing the enemies of the state. We would have jihadis coming in from all over the world, nobody holding them accountable. We would have, they told us we had a sealed border. Do you remember this?
No. It is my testimony that the border is secure.
The president have worked very, very hard to implement a strategy when it comes to the border that is humane, safe, and has orderly enforcement.
Things are going at the border, sir.
Much better than you all expected.
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation.
And now all of the things that we predicted would happen are coming to fruition. The fruits of the open border of Joe Biden and whoever was pulling his strings are ripe now. And we fortunately have a president in the White House who can help us stop it before it does so much damage. They lied to us. They lied to us about the southern border, and they opened our country to the dregs of the world, including terrorists. They say as many as 2,000 followers of the Taliban from Afghanistan alone. We are chock full of terrorists right now in our country because of the Democrat Party and Joe Biden. And we all have to come together to beat this. We've talked about World War III for a very long time. Welcome to it. Welcome to it. It is civilization versus radical Islam. We are going to win, but you have to realize the severity and seriousness of this threat because it reared its ugly head in Australia. It reared its ugly head in America. And we are in for the fight of our lives. We're going to win, but we have to come together. Doesn't matter what race you are, what color you are, what gender you are, what sex you are. We've got to come together. Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews, and we're going to get it done. We are going to get it done. Welcome to a Monday edition of the Rob Carson Show. Let's take a break and come back. Don't go anywhere.
How do you solve a problem like Antifa? A terrorist group, that is what they are. I'm gonna solve this problem called Antifa. They have gone too far. The Democrats, they support Antifa. Their reign of terror they try to deny. Claim that Soros doesn't fund Antifa, but that's a big fat lie. We are coming after you, Antifa, in towns like Portland where you terrorize. National Guard will help to fight Antifa. They'll cut it down to size. How do you solve a problem like Antifa? They are a hate group in most people's eyes.
I'm afraid that poor Joe Biden, his faculties are sliding. Yes, it's a sad refrain. On the edge, watch him teeter. He would be a better leader if he only had a brain. That non-existent hand he's shaking, and all the gaffes Joe's making, his supporters can't explain. When he speaks, it's a gamble. I bet he wouldn't ramble if he only had a brain. Oh, I can't tell you why Joe Biden somehow got elected. Just hope November 8th he and his kind will be rejected. Joe Biden, he's so dense, he doesn't have the sense to come in from the rain. He's worse than Jimmy Carter, but I bet he'd be much smarter if he only had a brain.
Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
So we mourn the loss of 3 great patriots in Syria. You know how it happened. There was an ambush, terrible. We also have 3 wounded. They seem to be doing pretty well. But we mourn the loss. These are 3 great people. And it's just a terrible thing.
2 American soldiers were killed in Syria, also an interpreter. An ISIS attack in Syria. Donald Trump told reporters that Syria's president, Ahmed al-Shara, was devastated by what happened and stressed that Syria was fighting alongside U.S. troops. Trump in his post said that al-Shara was extremely angry and disturbed by the attack. Joni Ernst of Iowa said the soldiers were a member of the Iowa National Guard, my home state. Our Iowa National Guard family is hurting as we mourn the loss of these 2 of our own. Pray for the recovery of the 3 wounded soldiers. Of course, 2 members of the West Virginia National Guard were shot, 1 killed here in Washington, D.C. just about 3 weeks ago. This is all part of the intifada that they want to globalize, and Zohran Mamdani won't condemn that. He won't condemn the expression globalize the intifada, and he's the new mayor of New York City. So there you go. Unbelievable. Bondi Beach shooting in Australia. 15 people were killed after a shooting during a Hanukkah event. They were 2 radical Islamists. Don't fool yourself. They know who it is. They know why they did it. 50-year-old man and his 24-year-old son. The son is being hospitalized. The old man is dead. The woke Prime Minister of Australia said the government is going to tighten already strict gun laws and is blaming this not only on anti-Semitism but right-wing extremism, which is the same load of crap that they try to foist upon conservatives in this country. Ella Cook, a churchgoer and a VP of the Brown University Republican Club, identified as the victim in a deadly shooting at Brown University. She was 19. She's been identified as one of the victims in the shooting at Brown University. They had a person in custody, then released them. The shooter is at large. Ella was a member of the Cathedral Church of the Advent in Billingham, Alabama. The Catholic Church has been under attack in this country. You may recall a few months ago, a Catholic Church daycare center was shot up and 2 children killed in Minneapolis a while back. Vice president of Brown University's Republican Club, she was, by the way. A total of 2 people were killed and 9 injured on Saturday's mass shooting at Brown University. Again, law enforcement had a person in custody and they released them. Alex Shea, a former Brown University student, knew Ella through the Republican Club, was devastated. This person said, I'm still in shock on the news from Brown, where I was a student until a few months ago, and my heart broke my heart to learn that Ella Cook, a sophomore, was no longer with us. I knew Ella through Brown Republicans, where she was vice president. Being a conservative at Brown isn't always the easiest, but Ella was never afraid to share her beliefs on an overwhelmingly liberal campus and supported others in doing so. Last spring, while I was under disciplinary investigation for reporting on Brown's administration for the conservative student paper, almost nobody wanted to associate with me. Ella was one of the few who were willing to stand with me in public and hand out newspapers in front of the dining hall. Where I live right now, conservatives speak in hushed tones. I know artists who are Jewish who don't make a big deal out of October the 7th because they're afraid of the people in the nearby booths in the facility where they keep their wares. They're afraid to admit that they're conservatives. I'm not going to live this way. I'm not going to live this way. Jewish people are not going to have to live this way. We are going to end this. We are going to end this. But here is the Democrat Party. Oh, my God. This is Chuck Schumer as he gets ready to address the mass shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia. Listen to the lack of sensitivity of this man.
And, of course, I'm going to say a few words about the terrible shooting in Sydney, Australia. Okay? So, and first, of course, as I always say, no matter what, go Bills. They beat the Patriots today. It's a big deal.
This is Democrat Chris Murphy blaming the Brown shooting on Donald Trump.
Not shocking, because over the last year, President Trump has been engaged in a dizzying campaign to increase violence in this country.
Hold on a second. I don't think that Donald Trump has been doing that. I think your party has.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them.
The war of the Democrat Party on conservatism and civilization has been going on for a decade, and there's a body count, 30 in the summer of 2020, and there's a price, $20 billion, and now at least one soldier has been killed on our soil in Washington, D.C. Here's Chris Murphy.
Restoring gun rights to felons and people who have lost their ability to buy guns.
At least he's not releasing felons in mass in cities like New York and in states like Illinois.
Eliminated the White House Office of Gun Violence Protection, and he has stopped funding mental health grants and community anti-gun violence grants that Republicans and Democrats.
Because the money never fixes anything, because it's usually handed off to the friends of the Democrats.
Supported in that.
Nothing ever gets fixed. The graft and corruption are ridiculous.
2022 bill. So he has been engaged in a pretty deliberate campaign to try to make violence more likely in this.
Not one bit at all. In fact, he was nearly murdered twice because of the language of Democrats. Charlie Kirk was murdered, and they even scribed the words that you've been using against Donald Trump and conservatives on the spent shell casing that blew his neck open.
Country, and I think you're unfortunately going to see the results of that on the streets of America.
We have been for 10 years.
That's a pretty big statement. He's in a campaign to make violence more likely?
Of course. I mean, he's knowingly restoring.
This is gaslighting in its purest form.
Gun rights to dangerous people. He is cutting off grants that have bipartisan support to try to.
I wonder if Democrats are going to call this an unfortunate accident. What happened in Syria and what happened at Brown University. I wonder if Benny Thompson is going to call it an unfortunate accident like he did the shootings of 2 National Guardsmen. We've got to come together. 80% of us believe the country was going in the wrong direction when Joe Biden was president. 80% of us came together to save the country, and now we have to come together to end this nonsense and violence. General Blaine Holt joins us next to talk about all of this and more. Don't go anywhere. My nightly ritual now is a little ice, a little vanilla yogurt, banana, a little milk, and a scoop of chocolate brownie Beams Dream Powder in the blender. A little while later, I hit the sack and I sleep until sunrise. It's amazing. These days, everything moves so fast, and it certainly can mess with your sleep schedule. That's why I'm here to tell you about Beam's Dream Powder. It's a healthy nighttime blend packed with science-backed ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients, including reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. I've been using Beam's Dream Powder for a year now, and I can honestly say I feel sharper, calmer, and more focused, and I'm not alone. Beam has improved over 28 million nights of sleep for people across the country. So if you've been waiting for the right time to try Dream, this is it. Go to shopbeam.com/Newsmax. Use code Newsmax and take advantage of my exclusive offer for 40% off. You can get their best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. So seriously, think about it. Go to shopbeam.com/Newsmax today.
Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are Rob Carson's friends. Better believe that they'll be friends to the end. Willie! A new coalition to promote freedom. They're all about liberty. The perfect trio to combat the left and look out for you and me. Mamas, please let your babies grow up to be homeboys. Hillbillies and Hebrews is who you should raise. You'll receive nothing but absolute praise. Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are saving this country. They love this land and they'll give you a hand. We need to give them our thanks. Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are friends to this nation. They've got our back when we're under attack. Homeboys, hillbillies, Hebrews. Adam Schiff's scared, and he ought to be inside of a cell. He's gonna see Pencil Neck is going to jail. Lied on his mortgage not one time but twice. Get a good lawyer, that's my advice. Pencil Neck is going to jail. Leaked classified information to the New York Times. Schiff will be prosecuted for his so many crimes. His Senate seat will be taken away. Adam Schiff, he's gonna pay. Pencil Neck is headed to jail. Watch Adam sweat. A lengthy sentence he'll get. Pencil Neck, he's headed to jail.
again, look at the kind of language, and look at the races, for the Senate in 2026 cycle. One of the signature issues is being anti-Israel and saying these incredibly anti-Israel kinds of views on Israel, and it's super, super critical. And now people that were just recently elected, like in New York as well, too. That's, call it what it is. And I can't imagine why that's becoming more and more part of my party's platform.
Yeah, I don't either. But it is beginning to bear fruit. The open border, the anti-Israel sentiment, the Democrat Party, what they've done to our country. We had a massive terror plot, foiled in Michigan a couple months ago, I should say. And then we find out today that there was a massive plot involving 4 radical Islamists for New Year's in Los Angeles. Joining us to talk about that is he is Brigadier General Blaine Holt. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you today?
It's good to be with you. Please don't demote me. It's almost happened several times.
I did not want to demote you. I would never do that to a Brigadier General. But welcome to the show. You also host this great podcast called Dangerous Intellectuals, and you're rocking that very well. But General, you had a foiled attack in Los Angeles. You had a foiled attack in Michigan. U.S. intelligence warns that more than 2,000 Afghan residents may have allegiance to the Taliban. Hundreds of thousands of Afghanis were allowed to come in the country, and then, of course, the southern border was open. Unvetted, millions unvetted for terror, for disease, for criminality, and it looks like our worst nightmares are coming true.
Yeah, we don't have to go to Afghanistan anymore. The enemy's here, and they live amongst us, and they live in numbers that far exceed anything we've ever faced in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing after the 4 years of open borders, and it's not just all the terror groups on the planet, it's actors like the People's Liberation Army with cells here. There's cells all across the place, and as you see, the president's campaign against the cartels, the pressure ratchet up, knocking over these rice bowls that lead to all the money laundering, all the illicit activities on the planet, then you better understand that these terror cells are absolutely arm in arm with these cartels and could be activated. And I believe this global intifada we see playing out right now, from Bondi Beach all the way to Los Angeles.
Yes.
It's all related. It's all related, and it's here. And they're normalizing violent language. The Dems are normalizing violent language. Kamala Harris yesterday at a speech was talking about how they're ready to break things. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then you've got imams all across our country calling for eliminating or dealing with non-Muslims. It's a very dangerous time right now.
It is a very dangerous time, but I think Americans are waking up. I really, really do, because we're moving past this fear of offending people. And we are recognizing the real threat here, and we're also, I'll just go ahead and say it, pretty damn pissed about it. This all started with George W. Bush after the towers fell, saying that we need to understand why they did it, why they're mad at us. And I say, no, if you choose that way of attacking someone, you don't deserve that. You deserve none of that. Nothing that we did precipitated or is an excuse for what they did to us. And it's gotten worse. It's festered, and now, unbelievably, our country is infested with it.
It is, and you go back to 9/11. We could not have taken a worse turn strategically than our response to what we did with that war. Everything looked like it was on track when we just went and got with a bunch of Northern Alliance guys in Afghanistan on horseback and showed them the power of a B-52. But what we should have done is stayed light, lean, agile, and inexpensive as we took on our enemies very aggressively and violently and definitively in a very short order, and then come home and husband our resources. Instead, W. Bush told us to go shopping, lit up the national credit card for trillions and trillions of dollars, and a lot of loss of life and treasure and good minds. To what end? And so now we have a Taliban that's better armed, has our weapons. Now they're here with us because the idiots over at Langley said, well, we vetted them. No, they didn't. And now they're here, and now we're going to have to come together as communities and understand that you may be standing alongside of your first responders helping.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews. I said that last year because of the violent and threatening anti-Israel protests that were happening in New York, which, by the way, have gotten much worse since Zohran Mamdani has been elected as the mayor. They've become very violent, very threatening. The radical Islamists are becoming more vocal, more visible, more brazen in our country, and sooner or later, we're going to have to kick radical Islam's ass. We always talk about World War III, General. We always talk about World War III. We're in it. This is it. It's radical Islam versus civilization, and we're seeing this battle in places like Australia and France.
It's the Western world has been under siege, and the globalists, the World Economic Forum kids, the City of London kids, they want this population replacement. It's the guy who I have on my podcast today, Sasha Kreiner, he's got the perfect metaphor. He said the globalists you can't see basically put red ants in a jar and black ants in a jar. They close the jar, they shake it, everybody's killing each other, but nobody asked who closed the jar. And this is what a fifth-generation warfare World War III battle space looks like. Everybody, the darkest of us all, are using these groups, hitting them to create these wars. Because they're trying to outrun their next big global financial crisis, they need to blame it on somebody. So there's your top level, but that puts us into a very dangerous battle space here at home. And if you need a crystal ball, go look at Europe, because it's happening right now to them, and Australia.
You are a soldier. You spent your entire career as a soldier. How do we win this? Where do we start? What do we do? How do we take this on?
Okay, start local. Get with your communities, visit with your sheriff, go to your local city councils, hold them accountable, tell them they're on account, that you have great expectations about your security, and that you expect to have police blotters and information transparently shared with your local community. Go to your state, hold your representatives accountable, ask them what kind of legislation they're doing that's politically correct legislation to help the invaders who should be deported, the anti-ICE legislation that you see being crafted. Go to the federal, melt switchboard. Prepare, get some food, get some bacon, beans, bullets. Have yourself in a position where if something happens in your community, you do not have to go downtown. That going for a bag of beans is not going to cost you your life. Stay up on the news. Go get your own news. Go cultivate your own sources that you trust. And then be very, very watchful, because we are going into a dangerous period of time. We'll get through this.
Yes.
We always do.
Yes, we will.
And then don't succumb to any of this politically correct nonsense. Don't. Go to Bondi Beach. You had an Arab man, Ahmed al-Fatih Ahmed from Idlib, Syria, who saw the killing. He didn't ask, what's the nationality, what are the politicization, who's what religion. He just went and dove for that gun, unarmed, no training, turned the gun on the guy, and he still got shot. That's the type of citizen heroism that we got to see now.
100%, brother. Well, Blaine Holt, if you can hold on through the break, I would appreciate it. There's much more I want to talk to you about this, if it's fine with you.
Perfect.
All right, very good. More with Brigadier General Blaine Holt in a moment. This is The Rob Carson Show. Rob Carson Show, more with Blaine Holt, General Blaine Holt in one moment. From Newsmax, gold gains 1% on safe haven demand. Softer dollar, gold climbed 1% money to hover near a 7-week high. Spot gold gained 0.9% to $43.43 an ounce, $4,300 an ounce. U.S. gold futures rose 1.1% to $43.74 an ounce. At this time last year was $2,600. Stronger demand from investors, 3 months of solid central bank demand. Investors started to anticipate even lower rates in 2026. We are all supporting gold. We are all supporting gold. Spot silver rose 2.8% to $63.73 an ounce. It hit a record high of $64.65 on Friday before closing. The metal has gained 120% this year. You need gold and silver in your portfolio. Birch Gold can help you out. Here's what you got to do. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob to 989898. You can get the ball rolling. And right now, for every $5,000 invested in Birch Gold, they will throw in an ounce of silver. A silver round to give to your kids in their stocking, under the tree, advent calendar, Hanukkah gift. Doesn't matter. Keep it for yourself. Did you just hear what I said about gold? Maybe it's time you got on the gold train. Like the Polar Express, ladies and gentlemen. Text Rob to 989898 to claim your eligibility for free silver. Again, Rob to 989898 today, because Birch Gold's free silver with qualifying purchase promotion ends December 22nd, which is 7 days away. Unbelievable. Brigadier General Blaine Holt, what would the country look like if Kamala Harris would have won the election?
Well, we'd be in such deep trouble.
I swear to God.
We'd probably be talking about the end of the republic right now, and maybe balkanization of the states. I could easily see where solidly red states would say, we're out of here. We're not doing this. Because if you need to know what that would have looked like, go look at Keir Starmer in the UK or Ireland, or go look at Macron in France. That is the country that you'd have right now. And you wouldn't have now 4 years of unchecked immigration. You'd have 6 already under your belt.
I can't even imagine how it would have gotten worse. It would have gotten worse. Nobody's being held accountable for 350,000 children being lost and trafficked for sex and for labor, or women being sentenced to life of rapes at the hands of the cartels. My God, nobody's been held accountable, Blaine. What do you think needs to happen? What do you think needs to happen to Alejandro Mayorkas?
He needs jail or worse.
Yeah, he needs worse.
The level of criminality and what he's done to the fabric of our nation, its culture, and they knew exactly what they're doing. This is all premeditated.
Of course.
So, and it's all Central Command Authority crap. So it all is in line with this globalist nonsense that all of them are doing. Hey, look, when they're all doing the exact same policies at the exact same time, it's no longer a conspiracy theory, kids. You can take your tinfoil hats off and you can just go, oh, it's the bad people up above them.
Yeah.
And that's where this would have gone. And now what we've got to do is push it back. But there are people being held accountable, just the wrong ones. So if you're in the UK and you've been raped brutally by 4 men, and then you call them pigs, you're the one going to jail.
Yeah, it is insane. It's upside down. I mentioned with Donald. What now? I'm sorry.
So why are we in NATO then?
Yeah, exactly.
If they're not going to have our values,
yeah.
If they're not going to work on prosperity and security, then what are we doing?
100%. 100%. I mentioned last year and the last couple of years, if and when Donald Trump became the president, that a wave of freedom and now faith with the murder of Charlie Kirk is going to spread around the world. Chile has been made great again. Pro-Trump conservative Jose Antonio Cast won in Chile's presidential election, defeating his communist opponent 58-42. The communists are protesting, and they're shooting him with water cannons. That made me smile today. It made me smile today. But it looks like South and Central America coming around, and it looks like Venezuela could be next. When do you think that's going to happen?
Very soon. But I think the way we get at that is a little precision strike here, a little precision strike here, because it's not just about Venezuela. It's about pulling out that bottom block of the entire illicit activity around the world, all of the money laundering, all of the human trafficking, all of the shadow private banking, people who call themselves upstanding members of society and financial geniuses, they need to be perp walked. And this is what so as President Trump is showing some success here, you will look for reactions that we may see well playing out here on Main Street.
Well, I'm just so grateful that Donald Trump is the president. We went through so much to get him here. He went through so much for us.
He needs help.
He does.
He needs a GOP Congress that stops its enmity for President Trump and gets on board with him. He needs a leader and the Speaker of the House that will follow that agenda, because this is what America voted for. It's not what they want. Who cares? They need to represent the people because we are a representative government. And then he needs a staff around him and an admin around him that understands the boss's vision and intent and acts accordingly. And if they don't, they need to go.
Did you watch the Army-Navy game this weekend? Did you watch the unimaginable a few years ago patriotism happening there when the president was announced to flip the coin, and then the national anthem, and to think that Democrats are saying disobey orders? How many people did you suppose in that stadium would disobey Donald Trump's orders saying they're illegal?
Yeah, no, nobody would. But I'll tell you, I saw those patriotic parts, and then as an Air Force airman, I casually watched the rest of the game.
All right, my brother. Thank you so much. And if I don't talk to you before Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. God bless you. I consider it an enormous blessing to not only have you as a contributor on this radio program, but also as a friend.
The blessing is all mine, my friend, and thank you, and Merry Christmas to you.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All righty. Who's watching over here? A lot of people. Dookie Bear, what up? We got the new fan page going on. Facebook fan page. Rob Carson Show fan page. Woo! I will do what I can to contribute. Yeah, there you go. I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. I had two people come in this weekend to see the Christmas Carol with me, and it was something else. Let me find their names here. I meet a lot of people, and I'm not terribly good with names. Tamara and Elise Jones came in from Amelia, Virginia to see A Christmas Carol, and they walked up to me and said, we drove several hours to come here, we wanted to see the show, and then so I invited them to see the cast afterwards and enjoy pizza with the cast. I'm so blessed. I'm in a place that I can help people, and it just meant so much to buy the cast pizza and visit with them and talk to them. And even though many of them I'm presuming are liberal, they have a bunch of conservatives in the cast and libertarians, and I was welcomed quite well, actually. So very, very good, very, very good. Yeah, I got to talk about Rob Reiner. It's just tragic. All right. I'm looking forward to getting out of here on Friday, and I will miss you. Being off the air, but I need this. I need to be with my family and my dogs. And the pain and anger of the divorce is beginning to subside a little bit, and I'm able to be joyful again.
What about 350 here?
Last night at midnight, I got a call from my son. I'll let him sing first here.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you
Don't
go.
let the left steal your joy.
Take a look at the 5 and 10.
We have many things to be sad about today, and we also have many things to be happy about today. We are in the middle of a battle, but we are joyful warriors. I remember Rush used to say that. I'm a joyful warrior. I'm a joyful warrior. I'm so disgustingly joyful, you want to smack me upside the head. I mean, I was having a blast. I was singing with the Christmas carolers in Annapolis last night. I went and saw A Christmas Carol at Maryland Classic Theater in Annapolis. I would encourage you to go. It's a small theater. You know, I mean, just a delightful performance. And Tamara and Elise Jones from Amelia, Virginia, drove all the way to D.C. to hang out in the theater with me. They drove a couple of hours in traffic, and they came to see that show and meet me. And I want to say thank you to them. And Tamara, I should say, lost her husband this year. Her husband of 30 years. He died this year. And I embraced her, and I hugged both of them. And I shared the words of my sister's best friend who lost her husband last year on Christmas Eve. Said, we all got stuff. We all got stuff. And as much as we hate to see people fade into the past, we have to realize that the most important thing in the world is right now. Is right now. Yeah. Tamara and Elise. That was something else. Really neat to meet you. I haven't talked much about Rob Reiner. My son called me last night at midnight to tell me. It shocked me out of a sound sleep to tell me. It is a horrific tragedy. It is an absolutely horrific tragedy. It's all I'm really going to say about it. It is shocking to the system and the soul that a man and his wife would be murdered, presumably by their own son, who is clearly mentally ill. The one thing I haven't heard today from conservatives is giddiness or happiness or any sort of celebratory mood, because that's what happened with the left when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I only have, indeed, sincerest of sincere thoughts and prayers for Rob Reiner, who was on the opposite side of the political spectrum from me. But I hope God will bless him and welcome him and his wife into paradise. I really, really do. It is a tragedy regardless of politics. He was a very talented man. He did some of my favorite movies of all time. He did a great show that I grew up with called All in the Family. And so I am grateful for him for that. And I am so sorry that his life had to end this way. I really, really am. And that's all I'm going to say about that today. That's all I'm going to say about it today. No speculation, nothing. Let's take a break and come back. We've got Liz Collin from Minneapolis. She's hot on the trail of the fraud investigation. Next hour, don't go anywhere.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, and it is Monday already, the 15th of December, 10 days until Christmas, of course. Hanukkah kicked off with a mass shooting in Bondi Beach. We've been saying Bondi Beach. It's Bondi Beach. Somebody has said that on the chat on social media. So thanks for that. It is remarkable, and we're in the middle of what I believe is World War III. It's not what you thought it was. It is involved invading armies in countries around the world, including the United States, France, Great Britain, and whatnot. Radical Islamists all around the world have invaded countries like this and have upset the balance, are committing massive fraud and crime, and we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of it. Our over-tolerance has allowed us to become victims, and also an open border with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. This happened all over the world. It was a plan. It was a globalist phenomenon, and right now we are reaping what they sowed, and it's going to be a battle. It is going to be a battle. The Aussie Prime Minister, this man is a complete moron. Anthony Albanese was talking about the attack, and he says that it was about guns. They got to get rid of guns. Here it is. So Australia already has some of the strictest gun laws in the world. They made people sell their weapons to the government, and so it's very difficult to get a job. But of course, his answer is more gun laws.
And I want to conclude finally by saying that the government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws.
Yeah.
And this afternoon at 4 o'clock, I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet.
An unarmed man took out the gunmen, by the way, in Australia. Here is Donald Trump paying tribute to that individual, who is, by the way, there's a billionaire, I can't remember the gentleman's name, who's going to reward him handsomely.
And in Australia, you probably read it's been a very, very brave person, actually, who went and attacked frontally one of the shooters and saved a lot of lives. So very brave person who's right now in the hospital.
Yeah, it was amazing. But, of course, the Australian Prime Minister is a woke nutbag. I'm really kind of embarrassed for Australia, for New Zealand. Both countries have had limp-wristed losers in charge of their countries, woke losers in charge of their countries, pulling the same nonsense that woke losers in our country have pulled on us with regard to gun control and COVID nonsense and all of that. It really is quite embarrassing for the strong and independent people of Australia. I feel bad for them, but unfortunately there are a lot of people who get them elected, a lot of idiots who elect people like this man. Here he is after sidestepping the actual cause of the violence, the murders at Bondi Beach, as being radical Islamic sycophants who are pledged their affiliation to ISIS, a father and son, by the way. He says it's right-wing violence.
We take ASIO's advice very seriously. We work closely with them. We receive regular updates as well.
Doesn't he just sound like a weak, pathetic man?
The Director General of ASIO has warned about a range of threats, be it anti-Semitism, the rise of right-wing extremist groups as well.
Yeah, there's no right-wing extremist groups rising. White supremacy in America was never rising. It was all bullcrap. Same stuff. Same playbook. Same playbook as what they did here in the United States has happened in Australia, has happened in France, has happened in England. England may be too late for them. I mean, they are so overwhelmed right now. I wonder if the good people, the good and patriotic people of Great Britain who love Great Britain have the capacity and ability to drive them from their shores. I hope they do. I really, really do. Here is the Prime Minister of Australia being challenged, being called out for his nonsense in the face of murders by radical Islamists.
And then we'll go further then.
Left unchecked, as you were just saying, anti-Semitism leads to terrorism and violence targeting the innocent. Your government has come under criticism in claiming that it has effectively responded to the rise of anti-Semitism in Australia since October 7, 2023. In September, your government recognised a Palestinian state. Your ministers have attacked the Israeli government. Senior ministers refused to visit the sites of the October 7 massacres.
Yeah.
And you created a special Islamophobia envoy alongside an anti-Semitism envoy. Have you taken the threat of anti-Semitism seriously, and can you guarantee the safety of Jewish Australians?
Yes, we have taken it seriously, and we've continued to act.
Oh, I'd like to see some proof of that. See, after October the 7th, about a week after, they created a false flag event. They said a hospital had been bombed by the Israelis. It was a lie. They said hundreds of people were killed and injured, and it didn't happen. It did not happen. It was a lie. And the American media and the world media took that and immediately turned October the 7th on Israel. It took them weeks to forget the second Holocaust and to literally blamed Israel's reaction on Israel. I've had enough of it. I've had enough of it since that damn day. And we've seen the anti-Semitism. I had no idea it was so embedded in America. I had no idea it was embedded in America's universities. You see Democrats saying, oh, yeah, it's like 1939 Germany because Donald Trump is getting rid of illegals in the country. No, you made the country like 1939 Germany for Jews. By God, it is Hanukkah. I will fight for my Jewish brothers and sisters, my Hebrew brothers and sisters. I will fight to the last breath for you. And I know that my homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews, if the government isn't going to do it, we're going to do it, because we're done with it. We've allowed this to run roughshod over our country. We've allowed places like Dearborn to fester and become hotbeds of terror and Sharia law, and we're not going to have it. You come here, you assimilate to the culture. You adhere to our Constitution in a country as founded. We aren't changing. If you can't live in it, get the hell out. That's it. That's all. Here is John Fetterman being interviewed by Maria Bartiromo, one of the only Democrats to have any common sense and defense of Israel. The Democrat Party is anti-Semitic. They have allowed this to happen. There is no doubt about it.
And Senator, a moment ago, Lindsey Graham was with me, your colleague from South Carolina, who said a warning to anyone who is trying to say that there should be a Palestinian state. If you create a Palestinian...
They had one. They blew it. That's it. You're done.
State, what you will get are more killings of Jews. Do you agree?
Absolutely. It's an absolute betrayal for Israel and for the worldwide Jewish community, like whether it's France or Australia or any of these nations, our Western allies now calling for a two-state solution when Hamas refuses to disarm. Actively trying to kill Jews. I can't imagine why anybody...
You had your chance. You blew it. That's the words of Kelly Clarkson, by the way. Didn't think I'd be quoting Kelly Clarkson. You had your chance. You blew it, man. You had your chance for 20 years. You blew it. You elected Hamas. You murdered. You killed. You slaughtered. You made it so Jews would never try to even enter Gaza because they would be murdered. Then you committed October the 7th. You're never going to have the two-state solution again. You screwed the pooch.
Well, I absolutely do agree with the Muslim Brotherhood. I'm the only Democrat as a co-sponsor.
He agrees with making declaring the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization in America, by the way.
Of that with my colleague from Texas, Ted Cruz, to identify exactly what it is, and then attack these kinds of organizations that
they needed to be bankrupt. Its members need to be indicted, put on trial, arrested, deported. Same goes for CARE. CARE is now officially a terrorist organization. Its affiliates need to be taken down financially, and its officers need to be investigated. That's it.
Help fund this kinds of terror across the globe, and not that. Call it what it is and reject this kinds of radical Islam. Just the way I watched Senator Graham's interview, and I agree with virtually everything that he said about those kinds of circumstances.
Yeah, I think we're done with the tolerance as radical Islam has taken advantage of us. Here is Tommy Tuberville talking about it.
This is a major national security threat. Radical Islamists have proven over and over again that they are willing to do whatever it takes to kill just one American citizen.
And another terror plot was thwarted in Los Angeles, a mass casualty event. 4 radical Islamists arrested. It was planned for New Year's Eve.
And it didn't just happen overseas. It has been allowed to fester and is alive and well in our very own country, just waiting for the right opportunity to attack. So, now's the time to act, because if we don't, we're going to lose this country as we know it.
Yep.
Open your eyes, America. The values of this country was built on cannot coexist with radical Islam. It doesn't work.
No. Homeboys, hillbillies, Hebrews. I told you we were going to have to come together. We came together to save America in November. Now we've got to come together to drive radical Islam and this sort of radicalism out of our shores. It's corruption. It's filth. It's crime. Must be driven from the shores. In places like Minnesota, where 50% of the immigrants there came here surreptitiously, every one of them need to be removed. Every one of those needs to be removed. And the people in charge of Minnesota who allowed a massive fraud of billions of dollars to be stolen for mainly the Somali community, they need to be investigated. They need to be charged. They need to be jailed, removed from office, and in Ilhan Omar's case, removed from the country for good. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
Shake, shake, shake your menorah, put it up with pride. Tell Hamas, you can't run and hide. Show all the haters like AOC. You and the squad love the enemy. My menorah has candles, more candles than I can handle. It's displayed on my table to show Hamas we're ready and able. You're out of line, Hamas. You're out of time, Hamas. Israel's win, your loss. You're gonna pay a big cost. You're out of line, don't believe you. Hey, Sleepy Joe, don't believe you. Shake, shake, shake your menorah for the world to see. Israel you're supporting, unlike NBC. Light all the candles, let them shine brightly, because soon Hamas will be history. Excess winning, he is spinning out the drug-dealing trade. In the air, bombs are dropping on drug boats. Venezuelans, they are failing to get fentanyl through. And in most every ocean, you'll hear exploding boats. Exploding boats, taking out all their drug shipments. Maduro's sad, been hurt bad. Soon he will be overthrown. Bombing boats, their drug boats, more will be blown up today.
Advisor.
We got a piggy rejoin.
Dig it.
Hey, quick question for all the people mad at Donald Trump for calling that reporter a piggy. Would you prefer to be called her Hitler, racist, rapist, pedo, dictator, fascist? Would you have preferred one of those?
Metallica.
The terrorists who bombed the U.S. Embassy and International Peacekeepers Barracks in Beirut, killing 370 and injuring 270, are the same terrorists who have fired rockets into Israel for the last 11 months. The terrorists who bombed the Israeli Embassy and Jewish Community Center in Buenos Aires, killing 115 and injuring over 540, are the same terrorists who have burned down Israeli towns for the last 11 months. The terrorists who bombed U.S. Air Force housing in Saudi Arabia, killing 19 and injuring 498, are the same terrorists who have displaced over 60,000 Israelis from their homes for the last 11 months. The terrorists who kidnapped and killed IDF soldiers 2 decades ago are the same terrorists who are planning an October 7th-style invasion of Israel called Conquer the Galilee today. Israel is not just fighting an enemy on its border. We are fighting a terror army that seeks to destroy the entire Western world.
Yes, it does. We're in the middle of World War III, kids. And I think it's time that we kicked radical Islam's arse. Big time. Big time. You know what I think we need to do? I think we need to have some good news. What do you say we have some good news on this Monday? I know it's kind of hard.
We love to win. Winning, so much winning. It's lots of winning. Lots of winning. It's oh so good.
You know, despite the liberal media saying that Donald Trump's approval is terrible and affordability is a crisis, not so much.
Real Clear Politics averaged today 44% approval rating for the President of the United States, exactly where he was when he got elected a year ago.
What the what?
He has a 90% approval rating with the party. That, to me, is far from being a lame duck.
Yeah.
When it comes to immigration, yes, he closed the border. Yeah. We passed a tax cut bill.
Did. He saved America.
Holding institutions accountable. He's doing things that he promised. I'm just going to disagree with you all a little bit and say, no, he's actually done a lot and what he promised he would do. And so I think when it comes to some of this stuff, you need to give him a little breathing room because remember, you guys, taxes would be going up if you guys had your way come January 1st. That's a fact. You voted against the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. All of that stuff is coming.
Yeah, and you know what all that's going to do? Oh, it's going to create a golden age. And the Democrat Party knows it. They know they're scrod next year.
A country that potentially is geared to have the most incredible golden years ever. We're going to have, it's the golden age. I say it's the golden age of America. When these factories and plants open up by the thousands, Toyota just announced they're going to spend $10 billion building plants to make Toyotas.
Yeah, and if you buy a Toyota that's made in America, you can write off the interest next year because America made cars. You got to write off the interest when you buy a new car.
So they're coming from Germany, they're coming from Japan, they're coming from Canada.
Yeah, because all those places suck.
Many factories are coming in because they don't want to pay tariffs. Very simple. They're coming in and they're spending a tremendous. They're spending.
And what do tariffs do? By the way, I'll just go ahead and ask. They cause the trade deficit to plummet like it did this year.
Minus $52.8 billion. That's a better, lower trade deficit than we expected. We were looking for a number closer to $62 billion, and that follows a revised minus $59 billion. Minus $52 billion would be the lightest going back to. Wow, we're really going back. Well, my records go back to 1992.
Wow, that is pretty remarkable. Really, really. You know why the economy and affordability are still a problem? Democrat-run states.
The states with the highest cost of living and the worst affordability crisis, I can name them to you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Illinois, California, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts. What do all those states have in common? They have Democratic leaders who've made the cost of everything higher. They've raised taxes. They've raised regulation.
Yeah. And MAGA Claus is here, and he's going to deliver the presents next year in a big way.
Oh, here comes MAGA Claus, here comes MAGA Claus, right down MAGA Claus Lane.
Hi, MAGA Claus.
Bringing glee to you and me, while liberals are in pain.
I voted for you 3 times.
The swamp is shaking, how they're quaking, they are under attack. America is filled with hope, 'cause MAGA Claus is taking it back.
You're not taking it away from us.
Oh, here comes MAGA Claus, here comes MAGA Claus with tax cuts galore.
Yeehaw!
Gas prices, they're much lower than they were before. Thanks to Trumpers, border jumpers, they are getting what's due. If you're here illegally, then MAGA Claus is coming for you.
Collin, you're stocking.
MAGA Claus is coming for you.
There you go. There's new from Jim Gossett. If you want to help him out, go to patreon.com. Jim Gossett Comedy. Jim Gossett Comedy. Donald Trump once again alluded to the fact that he has evidence that's going to come out next year that the 2020 election was rigged and stolen.
That's all they're good at cheating in elections, very good at cheating. They're professionals at cheating because we won in 2016 by a lot. The election was rigged in 2020.
Boy, I don't know. That sounds like disinformation. That's what the government told us to call it.
All the ammunition, all the stuff, and you'll see it come out. It's coming out in truckloads. And California's election, New York also, but California more than any other place is so rigged. It's such a rigged election. You know, we won the Hispanic vote. So a lot of people say Republicans.
So he says that some big news is coming out next year regarding the 2020 election, which, I mean, honestly, we all know. We just got shut down. We couldn't say anything about it. People went to jail for protesting in Washington, D.C. on January the 6th, and they made up an insurrection and put a whole lot of people in jail and weaponized the government to go after them, to shut them up. To just shut them up because you couldn't say that there was something wrong with an election where they stopped the vote counting on election night and then restarted the next morning, and all of a sudden billions of votes showed up for Joe Biden. It's weird. You couldn't say anything about it. It was disinformation and misinformation. You couldn't say it. You'd get shut down. Donald Trump got taken off social media, off Twitter, off Facebook, just because he was trying to talk about it. Isn't that just amazing? Maybe somebody's going to get a little comeuppance next year. Yeah, it sounds like it. While the economy is getting really good, some truth is going to come out, and hopefully some people are going to go to jail. We will see. Coming up, Liz Collin of Alpha News. She has been leading the way on all of the corruption in Minneapolis. She did the interview last week with the TSA agent in Minneapolis who witnessed suitcases full of money being taken out of the country by Somali men, and she was told to not say anything about it. A lot of developments on the massive fraud, the world's largest robbery by a group of taxpayer money. It's never been done. Unbelievable. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. My nightly ritual now is a little ice, a little vanilla yogurt, banana, a little milk, and a scoop of chocolate brownie Beams Dream Powder in the blender. A little while later, I hit the sack and I sleep until sunrise. It's amazing. These days, everything moves so fast, and it certainly can mess with your sleep schedule. That's why I'm here to tell you about Beams Dream Powder. It's a healthy nighttime blend packed with science-backed ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients, including reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. I've been using Beams Dream Powder for a year now, and I can honestly say I feel sharper, calmer, and more focused, and I'm not alone. Beam has improved over 28 million nights of sleep for people across the country. So if you've been waiting for the right time to try Dream, this is it. Go to shopbeam.com/Newsmax. Use code Newsmax and take advantage of my exclusive offer for 40% off. You can get their best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. So seriously, think about it. Go to shopbeam.com/Newsmax today.
The House wants me to testify about Jeffrey Epstein, but I've got lots to cover up, if you know what I mean. They'll ask me about the island, on what went on down there. I could go and tell the truth, but I wouldn't dare. I am dodging subpoenas, and so is my wife. We will try to dodge them for the rest of our lives. We are dodging subpoenas. Comer says we'll fail, 'cause if we keep on dodging, he will send us to jail. We are dodging subpoenas, could find us in contempt from prosecution. We are not exempt. We are dodging subpoenas because we are afraid.
Yeah, Breaker 19, this here's the Iceman. You got a copy on me, Pigpen? Come on. I was just passed by a gang of truckers I ain't never seen before. They were yelling out their windows, "Death to America." Yeah, we definitely got the front door. Mercy sakes alive. It looks like we got us an Al-Qaeda convoy.
ICE just arrested a terrorist in a truck. The fact that he ain't hurt no one, well, that's just total luck. He was here illegally for jihad, he is called. Only a liberal Democrat wouldn't be appalled. We got a terrorist convoy here illegally. They could pose a major threat, a threat to you and me. Terroristic truckers wonder what's in their load. Wouldn't be surprised if a rig of theirs explodes. Convoy.
We'll catch you on the flip-flop, Pigpen. This is the Iceman. Over and out.
We're eating pickles from the dollar store. Hot pockets from the Dollar General. Chicken wings expired yesterday. We're eating pickles from the dollar store. Hot pockets from the Dollar General. Chicken wings expired yesterday.
Hotline's ringing this way.
Okay.
What happened here in Minnesota that allowed this fraud to materialize, to metastasize?
It appears that the people at the highest levels of responsibility in the government of the state of Minnesota looked the other way.
Meaning they knew it, and they could not be that inept. They could not be so inept. The AG of the state of Minnesota could not be so inept as to not see, for instance, charities for autism grow from a budget of $2 million to $400 million in a couple of years. Of course, they knew exactly what was going on. One of the people who was doing a brilliant job of uncovering this is Liz Collin of Alpha News. Also, she did a terrific documentary, The Fall of Minneapolis. I lived in Minneapolis from 1994 to 1999. It is unrecognizable. And Liz joins us on the Newsmax Hotline. Hello and welcome to the show, Liz. Thanks for finding the time today.
Yes, absolutely, Rob. Thank you for having me. How you guys doing?
Good. I'm sitting here going, the world would be up in arms if a bank was robbed of $1 billion. And the Democrat Party is trying to deflect and laugh this off, aren't they?
Yeah, it's really interesting, their reaction. Governor Walz has come out. He's really going to get to the bottom of things. I I have to kind of laugh because it's been 7 years so far with this guy. And, yeah, you're talking about $1 billion, Rob, but actually the estimates are well north of that. I've heard as high as $8 billion at this point. The acting U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson, who stepped in for a while, said $3 or $4 billion. But again, I don't think they even have a handle on the amount at this point. I'll be honest. I'm actually out today checking many locations as we've been just flooded with tips about all of this fraud, and I've personally been on the road here checking out so many businesses. They're getting millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands every year, and we've been to several locations so far, and they're just sitting empty, whether it's adult daycare centers. We have some home services, autism centers that have all cropped up here over the last few years in Minnesota. And so you can really just see it, with your own eyes. It's very pervasive, and it's ongoing.
And all roads lead to people like Ilhan Omar, who steered $250 million to the state of Minnesota. It sounds like the Democrat Party used the COVID relief bill to loot the Treasury, and a lot of people in Minnesota took advantage of, particularly the Somali community, which is known worldwide for these kind of actions. We saw $250 million taken for charity in, I believe it was Switzerland. They like to look for areas of countries that tend to be more liberal, more giving, and they take advantage of that. But Liz, there's no way that Ilhan Omar, there's no way that Tim Walz or Keith Ellison did not know that this money was not being spent feeding children or taking care of people with autism. It's very easy to figure out, and clearly they aren't this inept.
Yeah, we have been tracking this for years. I do encourage your listeners, if you head to alphanews.org, right at the top, you'll see fraud in Minnesota, and it dates back years.
Yes.
Back to 2019, there were daycare centers at that time that they were investigating, and they were tied to millions of dollars being flown overseas. TSA agents were talking about that. I've recently interviewed some of those involved in that. But you have many politicians forced to return donations that were made to their campaign, whether it's Minneapolis City Council members, state senator is involved with that, Omar Fateh. You have Walz, our Attorney General, Keith Ellison, his son also on the Minneapolis City Council. They had to return donations from defendants tied to the Feeding Our Future fraud, a $250 million fraud. But this has really just ballooned since then. I guess I kind of thought, okay, well, you'd think that they'd get the memo. We're not going to be stealing anymore. But in fact, I think it almost worked in reverse. You have many people who even took the stand in that trial, Rob, that talked about this is our American dream, or this is our culture. Those were their words. This is our culture. This is what we do. That's what I've heard from my sources, is that in many of these cases, they'll get a 5 or 10 year prison sentence, and that's not so bad, because by that time, they've already funneled millions of dollars overseas and whatnot, and they have a pretty nice setup to go to once this is all, through the court system, if they're caught at all.
Yeah, and I saw a report this weekend about them going after jurors like organized crime in the state of Minnesota. It's only happened one other time where organized crime went after jury members. I can't remember the exact year it was, but I saw the report, and that's what they did in at least one of these cases. They surveilled a jury member. They attempted to bribe a jury member to not convict someone in this Feeding Our Future program. So this is very organized in the Somali community.
Yeah.
When I was in
I could actually say a little bit
please
more
about that
real quick, Rob, because it's crazy. It was a $200,000 bribe for a juror tied to this Feeding Our Future case. The gal that did it, this woman, Somali woman, she took $80,000 of that money for herself and left $120,000 in a Hallmark gift bag outside the front doorstep of this juror. So she kept the $80,000 herself, and actually I recently profiled a story about this gal because she, to this day, is not behind bars. She is out, and I think it's been 4 felonies she's now been charged with, including that bribe. And she is currently out of custody and awaiting sentencing in the Feeding Our Future bribe. But yeah, there was an insurance guy who actually hired her before this bribe, and she forged a check for $30,000 after just working for him for just a few weeks, and then went on to commit the bribe, and there's been some other things as well, but she's not even in custody. Another part of this problem with Minnesota's so-called justice system.
And the AG, Keith Ellison, has been overheard. They have him on tape saying that he would call off any investigation of fraud by the Somalis. It sounds like if he wasn't on the dole, he was certainly willing to look the other way and allow it to happen.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit with him. It's quite telling. I mean, you have the U.S. Attorney's Office here, the federal government sort of leading the charge with these prosecutions, which, even in the Feeding Our Future, it's 78 that have been charged so far, just in that scheme, and there's been many that have overlapped with autism and other businesses and whatnot. But interestingly enough, the top law enforcement officer, if you will, the Attorney General of Minnesota, has been very quiet. There's been a few charges here and there with different things, but nowhere near the scope of what we've seen from the U.S. Attorney's Office. And our Attorney General here in Minnesota just spends his days, it seems, fighting President Trump at every turn. That's certainly been the focus, and the same with our governor.
Do you suppose that in future judicial proceedings, and I'm assuming there will be many more as more of this is exposed, that plea bargains might be offered for uncovering who is responsible for this and who overlooked it in the government?
I've been a reporter, I think, 20-plus years now it is in Minnesota, so I'm always hopeful of a lot of things. I think that we're thankful for the spotlight from the federal government. Interesting timing. The question is, are they trying to take Walz out as he runs here for a third term in Minnesota? Is that really because he is so unpopular?
Mm-hmm.
And so, because this fraud was around when he was running as VP, and, again, this is nothing really that's new. But will something finally happen? I guess that is the...
Well, he should have already resigned. I mean, if he had any shame, and he doesn't, he's a buffoon, he's a cartoonish clown, a corrupt cartoonish clown, by the way, and he should have resigned by now. Liz, can you hold on through the break? I have a few other questions I want to ask, like how whistleblowers were treated by the Walz administration, and also how this is spread to states like Ohio and Maine, of other places. Can you hold through the break?
Yep, no problem.
All right, Liz Collin, alphanews.org, alphanews.org. If you want to know more, she's doing an incredible job as a real journalist. We'll continue the conversation on the other side of the break. This is The Rob Carson Show.
feeding our futures, went to the state and said, if you stop giving us this money, we're going to call you racist and we're going to sue you. And you don't want to be in the news. Now, here's what, and you say, well, why didn't the employees do something? They did. They told the people higher up, the people with the flags in their office. And you know what they did? Nothing. You know why? Well, here's what the legislative auditor in Minnesota said. He said that the threat of litigation and the negative press affected how the state politicians use their regulatory power. And here's what a fraud investigator in the Attorney General's office said. She said, there is a perception that, I'm quoting now, that forcefully tackling this issue would cause political backlash from the Somali community, which is a core voting bloc.
Wow. That is John Kennedy, of course, talking about what's happened in Minnesota, and it has been allowed to fester and grow to the tune of maybe even $8 billion because, Minnesota nice, right? Liz Collin, right? Liz Collin of Alpha News. Minnesota nice. Take advantage of Minnesota nice. Are the people in Minnesota starting to turn a little bit Minnesota pissed off?
I would say so. I'm one of them.
Good.
For sure. I said Minnesota nice kind of turned into Minnesota naive over the whole George Floyd debacle rub, and I think that's partly what we're seeing. Racism has been weaponized here in Minnesota, and that is working in the favor of the fraudsters, no doubt.
Well, when I lived in Minneapolis, I did satire about the generous welfare programs in the state of Minnesota. And clearly the Somali community does the same, targets those individuals, targets those states, and it happens all over the world, but it is spread to other states. In Maine, there was a guy who was actually running for warlord in a province in Somalia. It was called, I can't remember what the name of it was, Jubaland. Jubaland. Took millions of dollars. And then also we are uncovering what looks to be like massive fraud in the state of Ohio. What have you heard about both of these states and how this has apparently been taking place across the country?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much of a surprise. Again, you can even just use their own words that were tied to court testimony with, this is our culture, this is what we do, this is our American dream. These are all words that came out in, open court. So I wasn't surprised to just see that in other states as well. And again, this is dating back years in Minnesota at this point, and we now even have just different businesses that we've never heard of before, like as in these adult daycares that we were discussing earlier.
Yeah.
This even a business model that anybody has ever even
heard of.
And now all of a sudden they're everywhere.
I saw Mahek Cook, Ohio attorney, talking about this. She says, so you want to take care of an elderly, aging parents at some point, I can become a home health provider, and this is where the Somali community has really been clever. They've been able to find loopholes in Ohio law to provide for care for family members, even when they don't need it, and then, taking all the money to the tune of $91,000 per individual per year. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is, and we see that in many cases that there's things that are happening on the legislative side. So laws are created to funnel money, whether it's federal or state reimbursement that these groups are getting. We profiled recently a transportation company that people had questions. There were these vans sitting in a lot for months on end, not moving, a large fleet of vans. And then just tracking the payments made from the Minneapolis school district to this company that ballooned by several millions of dollars going outside of the contract. Well, then it turns out that there was a law that was created in St. Paul, a law passed that provided 100% reimbursement for what they call the homeless and highly mobile population. And these are kids that are, supposedly homeless, and all of a sudden, that population skyrocketed, so they need rides. But are these rides even being
Unbelievable.
given?
Unbelievable.
Is the question, and there's no safeguards in place to check that.
How are ICE agents being greeted in Minnesota as they go in to remove some of these people? And I also hear that 50% of the Somali community may have been surreptitiously arrived on our shores and cheated the immigration system. How is ICE doing up there?
They're doing their best, but we have activism in full effect, even though it's been 20 below. I think they brought up some agents from Texas, and the timing was rough with the cold weather.
Yeah.
But we have the whistles out in full force.
Unreal.
And these different groups that hang out literally by the federal building, and they'll follow these officers.
Wow.
When they are trying to make arrests, and creating these chaotic scenes. It just doesn't obviously have to be this way.
What about local media? I used to work at KS95 and associated with KCTV 5, KARE 11, WCCO. I've heard that WCCO has been pretty lazy in their journalism with regard to covering this story.
Well, I think you can probably apply that statement to all
everybody.
Of them.
Yeah.
We have a very left-leaning
wow.
media, which is why I got out of it.
Yep.
And really just, they are on the side of the activists again and again, and don't really seem to care about the truth. They're siding with the criminals.
Wow.
Time and time again. Yeah, it's a sob story on the nightly news each and every night that ICE is out trying to do
unbelievable. Well, Liz, I just think you're doing an amazing job, and I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. I think, didn't you used to work at WCCO?
That's right. Yep. It's been about 15 years there.
That's what I thought. Well, I think what you're doing is amazing. It's real journalism, and I put you right up there with Matt Taibbi, Michael Schellenberger, so many who've become just superstars in journalism, doing what journalism is all about. So I appreciate you doing what you're doing, and I appreciate your time today.
Appreciate you right back, Rob. Thank you for having me back on.
All right, alphanews.org, Liz Collin doing an amazing job. We hope to have her on again soon. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. All righty. Who we got here? Dookie Bear. One of our school districts just got taken back over by the state of Texas. I work in the office of that district, not shocked whatsoever. A bunch of crooks running Beaumont, Texas schools. Yeah, it's happening all over the country. All over the country. I told you, our government was as corrupt as the Soviet Union, except for the Soviet Union never dreamed of having $7 trillion to loot. And they did it, right? Didn't they? Minnesota, worst state for veterans. Veterans with legs blown off sleep on streets while illegals get a $3,000 debit card and a free hotel room, $400 a night. BLA 13E9Y, whatever that is. Thank you for joining me and sharing that. And it doesn't surprise me. Oh, you're in Wyoming. Cool. Wyoming. Love me some Wyoming. I've only been once. Who's watching over here? Gail King, Pranay Upershot, Kathy Doman over there watching on the, great guest today. I know, right? Really good guest today. Thank you, Redneck MacGyver, Ken, for doing it. Ken Decker, you rock, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, social media team. Corey and Steph, you guys are the best. Getting us up, getting us on, making sure people can see us. It's pretty awesome. Pretty important. What am I going to do here? Yeah, Lydia Moynihan, here we go. All righty. What a show. It's been a rough weekend for bad news, right? It was really tough. We're doing our best to inform you and maybe distract you a little bit.
I have about 3:15 here.
Come on.
A honeymoon in the Maldives, a fleet of luxury cars. Here's a box with more than $270,000 in cash. This was all evidence from a new trove of files obtained exclusively by CBS News, showing how a group of convicted Minnesota fraudsters spent taxpayer dollars. One text message reads, "You are going to be the richest 25-year-old.
We're not even at the end of the beginning of our pursuit of the stolen money. and of the people who stole it.
U.S. Attorney Daniel Rosen leads the office digging into the wave of COVID-era fraud that hit Minnesota.
So how much money are we talking about stolen from the American taxpayer?
I can say with great comfort, well in excess of $1 billion.
In the past 3 years, 87 defendants have been charged, 61 convicted. The majority of them are Somali American. Minnesota has the nation's largest Somali population.
Yeah. And they're the meth lab trailer park of the world. That's Somalia. That's what we've learned about Somalia. It's the meth lab trailer park of the world. It's Suckville. Nobody wants to live there. And they came here and they defraud the entire world. Here is Tim Woods, who should have resigned already and needs to go to jail. He will not be the governor again. He will not be reelected. But he's blaming white guys for it.
Look, it's not law-abiding citizens. If that were the case, there's a lot of white men should be holding a lot of white
Somebody
men
flush him, please.
Accountable.
He's stinking up the place
for the crimes that they have committed. I think for the
what the hell are you talking about?
If that were the case, there's a lot of white men should be holding a lot of white men accountable for the crimes that
what
they.
What the
have
hell
committed.
is that to do with it? You know what? Stick it. So done with this crap.
I think for the community to maybe educate their population, because I think
you need to educate the population so they don't know that that's stealing. They need to know that stealing is stealing.
Seeing here is there's secondary victims in this, that there's providers inside the community.
Yeah, and you're a primary rectum. You get secondary victims, but you're a primary rectum. And here he is trying to downsize this, even though it's involving thousands of Somalis, many of them illegal.
It's crime in general. And I think the biggest thing on this is just making sure that we're educating the population. And again, this is 80 people or so that have been convicted in this, maybe some more in that.
Yeah, convicted.
A broader ring.
Thousands involved.
Medicaid fraud will stretch
including you.
Across all racial demographics, all ethnic.
Okay, there's moral relativity. That's a sign of a weak argument and stupidity. Groups.
So I think it's really important for us to know each.
I got to tell you, Minnesota needs a colonoscopy, and some of those polyps like Tim Wurtz and Ilhan Omar and Keith Ellison need to be removed from the country or put in jail. Last hour of the Rob Carson Show right ahead. Don't go anywhere.
Newsmaxhotline.com.
Now, you are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
The AI apocalypse is here now. And we need a government that actually worries about that and blowing up fishing boats and building Marie Antoinette-style ballrooms.
Strikes on fishing boats, or what look like fishing boats.
And now the Trump administration is saying that they care so much about stopping drugs from coming into the country that they're going to bomb the guys on a fishing boat.
Clearly, you see in the news, bombing fishing boats in the Caribbean, saying they're drug cartels, things like that, where it's like, well, are things careening a little bit off here? Do we need checks and balances?
Last week it was fishing boats. That was the last dying gasp of Pete Hegseth as a war criminal. That was what they tried to pull. They tried to convince you that boats with 4 outboard motors, 1,000 to 1,500 horsepower, and giant bales of cocaine, obviously, were fishing boats. That's what they tried. They tried it. And this weekend, Mark Warner, the senator from the state that I live in, unfortunately, he admitted, and basically, I told you how the Democrat Party, they always look for the next thing. It's the next thing. It's the next thing. The Pete Hegseth is a war criminal was just the next thing. They didn't have any evidence that Pete Hegseth was a war criminal. They wanted to go after him as a war criminal, okay? And so that was the next thing. After Elon Musk is a Nazi and Doge, after Trump is a king, after Epstein, after everything, the next thing. Well, this thing effectively died this weekend.
This certainly was a distraction to the boat strikes, the second strike in particular with the survivor. Let me ask you first to clarify. Do you think the strikes on those suspected drug boats are actually drug boats? You're on the Intelligence Committee. I know you've seen intelligence. Are you confident those are actually drug boats?
I'm confident the majority of these boats have drugs on them.
Okay. There you go. Oh, but here's his big but.
They knew the 11 individuals on the strike on September 2nd. They don't know all of the individuals on many of the other boats.
Doesn't matter. They're terrorists. When you attack terrorists in a convoy, in a vehicle, in a building, you kill all of them. That's the way it is. There you go. Next thing. What are we going to move on to next? Well, Friday, some photos were released of Donald Trump. That was the big thing on Friday. Donald Trump, there were pictures of Donald Trump with young women, and all the women's faces were blacked out. All of them were blacked out. And oddly enough, the picture had been out there before with the faces not blackened out. Because it's a bunch of women who are of age, and one of them who said that Donald Trump, when he met them, was very polite and awesome.
I would ask you first, I suppose, to tell us why you selected the range of images that you did. Republicans accusing you of cherry picking to talk about Donald Trump. But
because you were.
He, of course, not the only high-profile man depicted in the photos you put out.
Yeah, this is just a snapshot of what we are finding.
Yes, this is just a snapshot.
We've only been through about a fourth or a third.
If you're watching the stream, you can see the women with their faces blacked out. They only did that to basically imply that Donald Trump was with underage women.
Of the 95,000 documents and images that were released to us yesterday.
This is MSNBC's anchor Ana Cabrera, who should be sued by Donald Trump, who should be sued into oblivion by Donald Trump.
But Anna, one thing that stands out to me is the people whose faces are not redacted as compared with images where we can see that the women have faces that are redacted or blurred out.
They only did that for this news report, for this news cycle, the next thing on Friday.
That suggests to me that either the estate and or the committee believe that some of these women...
That is nonsense. It was a public photo. Everybody saw it where you could see the women's faces. Here's Scott Jennings' response on CNN.
Yeah, look, here's what I think. Robert Garcia and the Democrats on oversight don't care about justice. They don't care about victims. They don't care about anything except one thing. They care about making the American public think that Donald Trump had something to do with this. What Van said is incredibly accurate. They should be patient. If they cared about victims and they cared about a narrative of justice and they cared about that part of it, they would be patient and they would be measured. But what did they do today? They released photos that are cherry-picked, by the way.
Yes.
And they throw in an already publicly released photo of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They blur out the pictures of the women to make you think that these women were underage sex victims, when in fact, they were very adult. They were at an event. It's already a publicly released photo. And one of the women said on the record, oh, Donald Trump was gentlemanly.
I got to tell you, what a bunch of filthy, rotten SOBs. I mean, of all the things, I mean, listen, we've been going on. This is just becoming commonplace. I mean, it's just commonplace. Here we go. This is another next thing. There's a next thing. There's a next thing. There's a next thing. You know what the next thing's going to be? Next thing's going to be Democrats don't want to pass the health care solution that Donald Trump and the Republicans have come up with, because everybody knows that Obamacare is a scam, is a giant scam, a giant scam. 13 million people sign up for Obamacare. Premiums are being paid, not using the policies, or they're made up. 13 million. The insurance companies have gotten billions of dollars. They wrote Obamacare to enrich themselves. Okay? So now the next thing is going to be Donald Trump and the Republicans have put forward a bill to allow people to have health savings accounts, buy their own insurance, and the Democrat Party will let your premiums go through the ceiling by not allowing the extension of the Obamacare subsidies, which only subsidize the insurance companies to the tune of billions of dollars. That's going to be the next thing. That's going to be the next thing, and then there's going to be a government shutdown in January. That's going to be the next thing. It is so just filthy, rotten, disgusting, to be quite honest at this point. I mean, listen, we've been doing this. How long we've been doing this? My God, ridiculous. Did you see the Heisman Trophy presentation this weekend? I'm going to do something that's kind of positive here. Young guy, Fernando Mendoza, Indiana University, an amazing guy. Here's the announcement, and he's getting a lot of talk today because of his heartfelt Heisman Trophy acceptance speech, and I just think it's beautiful.
And now the moment everybody has been waiting for. The winner of the 2025 Heisman Trophy is... Fernando Mendoza.
Wow. It was beautiful. And all the other candidates for the Heisman were standing there. And they were all gracious and all polite and all congratulatory. It was something to watch. And here he is thanking his mother. I'm going to try and get through this without tearing up, because I tell you what, this just shreds me.
Mommy, this is your trophy as much as it is mine. You've always been my biggest fan. You're my light. You're my why. You're my biggest supporter. Your sacrifices, courage, love, those have been my first playbook and the playbook that I'm going to carry through my side through my entire life. You taught me that toughness doesn't need to be loud. It can be quiet and strong. It's choosing hope. It's believing in yourself when the world doesn't give you much reason to. Together, you and I are rewriting what people think is possible. I love you.
Wow. Amazing. Really amazing young man. And you ever fantasized about doing an acceptance speech? You ever done that, honestly, have you? You ever think, like, if you won the Oscar, what you would say, who you thank, or if you won some big award, who you think? Come on, you have. I think most of us have. I have, I'll be honest. I've won a few awards. Nothing yet. I'll never get in the museum of a Hall of Fame of broadcasting. I'm not holding my breath. Not holding my breath. I had too many people in the industry kind of working against me for so many years. But kind of blowing things up now. But who knows? I mean, honestly, have you ever thought about that? Who you'd thank? Well, here he is thanking his dad.
Papi, thank you for grounding me. Thank you for holding me accountable when it was always tough, and reminding me that talent you can't have talent. Reminding me that talent means nothing without discipline and consistency. While I'm playing a team game, I'm learning to grow into a man, and you personify commitment.
Wow.
You picked all of us up whenever we've needed it most.
Wow. Very, 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 very cool. I wanted to share that today because there was a lot of good news this weekend, guys. There was a lot of good news this weekend. We saw the Army-Navy game, and patriotism is back. The anthem was beautiful. Donald Trump was lauded by thousands of people in that stadium. Everybody was thrilled. Our military is back. We had some major setbacks. had a mass shooting in Brown University. We had 2 soldiers killed by ISIS in Syria. We had the mass shooting by radical Islamists in Australia. But this is Christmas. This is Hanukkah. We will not be shut up. We will not have our joy taken from us. Join me. Do not allow this to happen. In Paris, fearful French have canceled the New Year's Eve concert on the Champs-Élysées as migrant violence grows. Paris has shockingly decided to dim the lights on its annual New Year's Eve fete along with its iconic Champs-Élysées. The massive midnight concert that drew a jubilant crowd of 1 million last year, with festivities having drawn throngs to the most beautiful avenue in the world for 6 decades, have been scrapped and replaced by pre-recorded video to be viewed from the safety and comfort of homes. They let the terrorists win. The famed avenue has been a flashpoint of violence lately, with throngs of young, mostly Muslim migrants streaming from Paris' infamous suburbs at night looking for trouble, looting Lux stores, brawling with Parisians and police. Unpredictable crowd moments without going into details, but critics loudly blame France's open-door migration policy, which happened in England, it happened in the United States, and we're in the thick of it as well. It's obvious that this is the result of the massive unvetted Muslim immigration into Europe, said Daniel DiMartino, an immigration fellow at the Manhattan Institute. We cannot let them win. We cannot let them win. Western Europe has had a terrorism problem for many years, and that has been exacerbated because of unvetted Islamic immigration as a result of the refugee crisis over a decade ago. And it's happened in America, and we're in the throes of it, and the people who did it to us the last 4 years by opening our borders need to be held accountable, and those here who are going to try to do damage, like the plot in Los Angeles for New Year's Eve, they need to be found, put on trial, arrested, thrown in jail, or deported. That's it, wholesale. This is why ICE is doing what it's doing. Get used to it. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Texas AG Ken Paxton, who's running for Senate in the great state of Texas. We're going to talk about the governor of Texas outlawing Sharia law and declaring CAIR, C-A-I-R, a terrorist organization. A lot of people were saying that Gavin Newsom effectively ended his presidential chances. I don't know, because Democrats are stupid and ignorant, and they fall for greasy-haired people with veneers like him. But here he is admitting that, hell yeah, he supports free health care for illegal aliens.
As it relates to undocked health care, yeah, I'm proud of that because I believe in universal health care. Others may say it. I did it. First state in the country, regardless of pre-existing conditions, ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status. I promised that. I promoted it. I ran 3 times on it. I did it when I was mayor. People know who I am.
You've ruined everything in the state of California. This is Will Cain. He's a brilliant guy. I really enjoy some of the stuff he says. Here he talks about the 4 stages of a Democrat scandal. And this is what has happened with this healthcare for illegal aliens. Listen to this carefully because you will recognize it, because we've arrived at this place where he just says, oh, yeah, we're proud of it.
This is the playbook on almost every scandal that comes to light regarding Democrats. It's 4 steps. Step number 1, deny it's happening. There's nothing to see.
It's not happening. There's no illegal health care. What the hell are you talking about? Illegal aliens don't get health care.
It's absolutely not happening. Scream the headlines from places like the New York Times.
Yeah.
Once that becomes undeniable, that it might actually be happening, then you move to no, that's a conspiracy, dismissal.
Yeah, no, please. I mean, honestly, conspiracy theory like the 2020 election was perfectly fine.
A right-wing conspiracy theory. Then we move to the 3rd step. It might be happening. This is a literal internet meme that plays out again.
It could be, maybe a few people are getting it, but I don't know of anything. And we're certainly not doing it here.
And again, in the real world. And then finally, the 4th step, the step we just got to with Ezra Klein, the New York Times, and Gavin Newsom. It's happening, and it's good.
Yeah.
In other words, you'll take your medicine, and you'll like it.
Yeah. Crooked SOBs. And here's what's happening in California. Valero is a very large oil company. And they're saying, you know what, we're kind of done with the nonsense. It sucks so bad in California, we're going to take $1 billion hit just to escape. And gas prices are going to go through the ceiling.
Valero just wrote off $1.1 billion. That is the cost they are taking to walk away from California, rather than keep operating their Benicia refinery past April 2026.
Yeah.
When a company takes $1 billion loss just to leave, you know something is seriously broken.
Yeah.
This facility processes 145,000 barrels of oil per day, representing 8.6% of California's entire gasoline production.
Wow.
400 workers have lost their jobs. 200 contractors are out of work. The city of Benicia loses 17% of its entire budget.
Yeah.
And California drivers, they are about to get hammered with the worst gas prices
listen to this.
in American history.
Yeah.
University of California Davis economists calculate a 40 cents per gallon increase the moment Phillips 66 closes their Los Angeles refinery this December.
Yeah.
Then another 81 cents when Valero shuts down 4
Wow.
months later in April.
Wow.
That totals a $1.21 per gallon increase by August 2026. Your 15-gallon fill-up jumps from $70 to at least $95.
Wow.
The Stanford Energy Institute came up with even worse projections.
What's that?
They are showing potential spikes to $8 per gallon during supply disruptions.
Well, there you go, California. Way to go there, California. Netflix hasn't learned its lesson. They got a new series about an aspiring trans coal miner. Growing up cross-dressing, it was years before Carla Rodriguez transformed to live as a woman, but even as a child, the story goes, he wanted to work in the mines. Yeah, dreamed of working in a coal mine. Holy hell. Dreamed of becoming a miner before she dreamed of becoming a woman. Here is a little bit. This is real. This is real. Here is a little bit of the trailer of the trans coal miner on Netflix.
Some of the guys say they've seen a shadow. Others say it's just a beam of light. The truth is, everyone believes it's the presence of the Black Widow, the woman who broke the superstition and went into the mine on a day that wasn't.
It's actually a guy who decided to become a woman and then decided to be a coal miner as a woman, which was really impossible to do, but she's a dude.
Barbara's Day.
It's always been my dream to work in the mine.
Rodriguez, Carlos, on the ground. They sent the baggage.
Do you feel safe in that work environment? I need a job, not friends.
Yeah, I know. It's confusing as hell, so Jim Gossett has done something about it. The trans coal miner's daughter on the Rob Carson Show.
I become a coal mining trans. Over at Netflix, I got lots of fans.
Sure sounds like a guy.
A female I became. I even changed my name. Transitioning was part of my plans.
Here comes the chorus.
Every time I walk by, people stare. They're never asking me to grow a pair.
Now you already got it. You were born with it.
In the coal mines, I am feared, 'cause I still have a beard.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Not to mention a chest full of hair. I am still a coal miner's son. When it comes to scruples, I have none. I know that I'm a guy, but I'll still live a lie. My perversion's only just begun.
There you go. That is, yeah, that's Netflix. Guy, born a guy, cross dresses, wants to be a miner, goes to become a miner as a woman because he wants to break the glass ceiling of being a woman as a miner, but really not doing that because she was born a guy. I mean, how does this really? I mean, what? I don't know. I'm kind of got a headache. I don't even know what to think about it. You thought it was bad with women, men and women's sports. This is just kind of bizarre. Coming up, Ken Paxton, the AG of the great state of Texas, also running for Senate. He will be a senator from Texas. We're going to talk to him on the other side of the break. This is the Rob Carson Show. My nightly ritual now is a little ice, a little vanilla yogurt, banana, a little milk, and a scoop of chocolate brownie Beams Dream Powder in the blender. A little while later, I hit the sack and I sleep until sunrise. It's amazing. These days, everything moves so fast, and it certainly can mess with your sleep schedule. That's why I'm here to tell you about Beams Dream Powder. It's a healthy nighttime blend packed with science-backed ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients, including reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. I've been using Beams Dream Powder for a year now, and I can honestly say I feel sharper, calmer, and more focused, and I'm not alone. Beam has improved over 28 million nights of sleep for people across the country. So if you've been waiting for the right time to try Dream, this is it. Go to shopbeam.com/Newsmax. Use code Newsmax and take advantage of my exclusive offer for 40% off. You can get their best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. So seriously, think about it. Go to shopbeam.com/Newsmax today.
New borders are, we'll clean up the mess. The mess Kamala, she did not address. Open borders, he will abort. And illegals, he will deport. Thomas Homan, he will say no man. You must go man. Mexico, man, you're headed back. Thomas Homan, he's a former cop. Border jumpers, Tom is gonna stop. Used to be in charge of ICE. Two illegals, Tom will not be nice. Thomas Homan, they ought to know, man. take you out.
You better start packing now.
Thomas Holman, he is your foe man. You've got to go, man.
I am sending troops to Memphis, Tennessee, 'cause it looks like Memphis could use some help from me. The mayor has done nothing to put criminals away. Memphis needs our help, and they need it there today. The city's run by Democrats who defunded police. They can't do their jobs or maintain the peace. I'm sending in the guard. Memphis needs it bad. Their mayor, Paul Young, that guy's really sad. Voted the most dangerous place in the USA. Wouldn't want to live there. Wouldn't want to stay. Sending in the guard. That call, it was mine. Democrats in Memphis, listen to them whine.
And fight back against capitalism. One of the leaders of the organization defended, the four defendants are Audrey Carroll, 30 years old. The pictures, I think we have them somewhere. We'll put them up here. Audrey Carroll, 30 years old.
These are four terror suspects. They were planning on doing a massive bombing campaign in Los Angeles for New Year's.
Zachary Aaron Page, 32. Dante Gaffield, 24. And Tina Lay, 41. Each from the Los Angeles area. Each is charged with conspiracy and possession of an unregistered destructive device in violation of Title 26, United States Code Section 5861D.
Now, they don't sound like radical Islamists, do they? But they do have materials that read, "Death to ICE," "Death to America," "America is fascist," and "Free Palestine." Do you understand what I mean when I talk about the words of war that the Democrat Party is using? Do you understand why I've been saying that the Democrat Party started a civil war a decade ago with us?
We intend to file additional charges in the coming weeks as we finish reviewing the evidence. The defendants are all radical anti-government members of the Turtle Island Liberation Front, which, according to their own social media,
like Antifa,
is an anti-capitalist, anti-government
communist
movement that calls for their associates to rise up and fight back against capitalism.
Wow.
One of the leaders of the organization, defendant Audrey Carroll, helped organize an even more radical faction of the group called the Order of the Black Lotus. Each of the defendants charged today was also a member of the Order of the Black Lotus.
Wow.
Carroll described this group to her co-conspirators as everything radical. As detailed in the federal complaint, which we will now make public, in November 2025, defendant Carroll created a detailed bombing plot to use explosive devices to attack 5 or more locations across Southern California on this upcoming...
I wasn't very old in the late 60s, but it sounds kind of like the same crap.
New Year's Eve. Carol and her co-defendant,
Weather Underground, anybody?
And then Zachary Page led the effort to obtain and build the bombs and to recruit others to join in their plot.
There you go. Audrey Carroll, 30, going to be going to jail for a long time. Zachary Page, 32. Dante Garfield, 24. And Tina Lay, 41. All going to be going to jail. Going to be going to jail. Unbelievable. These are the words of war. This is what the Democrat Party has sown. It was intentional. We are seeing the fruits of their despicable labor with an open border and terror attacks happening and shell casings, spent shell casings with their words written on them. Yeah. Newsmax reporting gold gains 1% on safe haven demand. It's kicking butt. Spot gold gained 0.9% to $4,343 an ounce on Monday. No, on Friday. U.S. gold futures rose to $4,374 an ounce. Stronger demand from investors in 3 months of solid central bank demand. I told you about the central banks buying up gold. Investors starting to anticipate lower interest rates. There you go. Spot silver, listen to this, rose to $63.73 an ounce. Hit a record of $64.65 on Friday. The metal has gained 120% this year. 120%. Gold, 60%. Unbelievable. You need gold and silver in your portfolio, and Birch Gold will help you do that. You can invest in Birch Gold, and they'll give you free silver until the 22nd of this month, 7 days from now. All you've got to do is text my name, Rob, to 989898. Claim your eligibility for this offer. Again, text my name, Rob, to 989898. $5,000 invested in gold will get you a free ounce of silver. You can give it to the kids. You can keep it for yourself. But it's going up. It's gone up 120% this year. Unbelievable. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Do so very soon. Other gold companies, they don't compare. Got a AAA rating from the BBB, and I trust them because they have my money. Birch Gold, text my name, Rob, to 989898 today, if you would, please. Why don't we do a little while? I'm waiting for Ken Paxton to call. He's got he's going to be joining us in about 45 minutes after the hour. So we're going to just talk a little bit about what's going on in the world. This is interesting. A woman posted in Columbus, Ohio, Nakia Dion, and apparently Somalis are robbing that state blind too.
Come see Columbus, Ohio, fraud investigators. If you go to the government-assisted housing areas, you will find that most of the housing is Somalians. I would say about 80% of the government-assisted housing in Columbus is occupied by Somalians. And the parking lot is occupied.
I hear we have Ken Paxton on the line. Ken Paxton, welcome to the Rob Carson Show. How you doing, my brother?
Hey, I'm doing great. Sorry about that. I was switching over to the phone from my headset.
Well, it's all right. I welcome you to the show. I haven't talked to you in a long time, my brother. How have you been?
You know, it's great. It's great in Texas. As you know, I'm in a Senate race with John Cornyn trying to undefeat an incumbent who's been in office for over 4 decades. Actually, been in office since I was in college, and I'm turning 63 this month. So that gives you an idea of his long service in some type of political office.
Yeah, I saw the polling, and it looks like you're doing very strong. It looks like Texans are ready for a change, and we're seeing some of the people like John Cornyn in the Senate kind of slowing down the things that we demand, not getting things done. One of the things on the agenda that a lot of people would like to see is the filibuster going bye-bye. Why are you running against Cornyn? Why do you think Cornyn needs to go?
Well, a couple of reasons. One is he's been in office, as I said, that long, and I've asked people since April, since I got in the race, can you name accomplishments, his good accomplishments, not his bad ones? And no one can name one. And that's a problem. You've been in office for over 4 decades and you have no accomplishments, at least none that people can recite. I'm sure he's done something somewhere along the way. But then the rest of these things, you know, fighting to help Joe Biden pass gun restrictions on and limit our Second Amendment, fighting President Trump, on the border wall, and you can see we have clip after clip of him saying it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
We have 15 or 16 amnesty votes, and then we have, of course, his fighting President Trump's reelection and his original election. So, look, this guy is not a Trump guy. He's claiming to be, all of a sudden, he's been reborn since I got in the race. But that's the fake John Cornyn, not the real John Cornyn. The real John Cornyn will come back after the primary.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of. What sort of machine does he have going right now? I mean, it's difficult to go up against an incumbent, particularly one who's been there this long. But what sort of support are you getting, and how are the headwinds looking in defeating somebody who's been in the Senate this long?
There's really only one. I mean, the people of Texas have caught on. I mean, many of the primary voters know him.
Yeah.
The challenge is just because the way
your mic's down. Ken says you got a bad thumbnail.
Campaign laws to limit challengers from getting money. And so we have and only half of that can be used in a primary. So it makes it really challenging to mount like enough money to challenge these guys, because their funds are pretty much unlimited. He's spending $3 million a week since the middle of July, and I'm not raising him here. It's just they have special access that I don't have.
Ken, can you hold on through the break? You were a little bit late into this break. Can you hold on through the break? Because I want to continue on the other side to talk about what's happening with Islam in the state of Texas and what your governor is doing to fight it. A little bit more from Ken Paxton, running for Senate, the great state of Texas. He is the AG of the great state of Texas, and we'll continue this conversation on the other side of the break. This is the Rob Carson Show.
p.m. And somebody needs to tell the Congresswoman. It'll be in her best interest. They need to tell her that the voices in her head are not real. She is.
This is John Kennedy talking about Jasmine Crockett running for Senate in Texas.
Wrong on every single issue. The people of Texas will never embrace her message. I don't know why she's doing this, but hey, you have the right in America to do dumb things if you want to. And she will be leaving Congress. And as far as the other 30 folks that are leaving Congress, look, I get it. I don't want anybody to be in Congress. He doesn't want to be here. Because this stuff's working for the American people. You got to give it 110%. So if people are unhappy, don't let the door hit them in the butt on the way out.
Again, that is John Kennedy talking about Jasmine Crockett running for Senate. We've got Ken Paxton, Texas AG, also running for Senate in the great state of Texas against incumbent John Cornyn. What do you think about Jasmine Crockett running? I have heard that the Republican Party kind of goaded her into running and knew she'd do a faceplant. What are you hearing?
Well, look, we certainly redrew lines, and her district kind of turned into somebody else's district. It's just the way it happens in redistricting. So she had a choice: go run in another congressional district, or go run for U.S. Senate. Either way, she has a race. She probably made the calculus. I might as well go for the higher office and see what happens. And going for the higher office, she's going to get a lot of publicity. They'll raise a lot of money. I just don't think Texans are ready for her brand of liberalism and Constitution.
Well, and she's a cartoon. She's a clown. She's an idiot. I mean, there's that too, I guess, right? I wanted to mention this. The gerrymandering of 5 seats for Republicans in the state of Texas this morning. I'm hearing the liberal media spin this as Donald Trump is losing a lot of Hispanics because of deportations, and so it'll be a wash in Texas. What do you know, and what are you hearing?
Look, we're a long way up from the midterms. I don't know what the polling would suggest. These are brand new districts. We don't even have candidates in them yet.
Yeah.
Because we have a primary March 3rd. So I don't even think you can really poll that.
Yeah.
So you have your Democrat and your Republican, and certainly we're about a year out from that election. So I guess you can have your little speculations about what's going to happen, but no one really knows. Well,
of course they're going to have that speculation. That's what's happening. That's why I asked you about it, because you knew this kind of nonsense would happen. It isn't necessarily just about Hispanics. I mean, Hispanics aren't the only ones coming over the southern border. And if you talk to most Hispanics, they say, and who are Hispanics? They're people who speak Spanish. All right, Hispanics. Okay, a lot of them are looking at illegals coming across the southern border and going, no bueno. No, I came here legally and whatnot, or I have a proper permit to work here. So, yeah, I figured that was kind of BS. Let's talk about your governor naming the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, and CARE, the same. Radical Islam seems to be rising in Texas. I know there's a giant development happening down there. They were attempting to build some sort of Sharia-compliant community. What's going on with Texas and fighting the rise of radical Islam?
Well, you can tell from what the governor's doing. He's trying to fight it. We're certainly in my office. We have a lawsuit against that development you're talking about. We have a right in this country to worship however we want, but you don't have a right to supersede the Constitution, state, or federal law with your own laws, and that's where the rub comes. And so that's what we look at, whether people are following state and federal law. That's why we have a lawsuit against that development for not following federal and state securities laws. So we're in the fight, and we're going to make sure that if you're going to establish these communities, you're at least going to follow our laws. You can worship however you want to, but you got to follow our state and federal laws, including our U.S. Constitution. Well,
yeah, you cannot have Sharia law in the United States of America that is governed by a constitution. That's it. That's all. That is that. How is ICE doing in Texas? They've been greeted with a hero's welcome in Louisiana. How do you suppose ICE would be greeted in some of the population centers in Texas?
Well, there's no doubt that we've been desperate, thirsty for ICE to do their jobs. And of course, under the Biden administration, they were precluded and actually encouraged to do just the opposite, which was create an open border and then provide logistics to hide these people. That's exactly what Joe Biden wanted. And so now under Donald Trump, we're following federal law, and we're deporting people who shouldn't be here. That's the law. And if people want to come here illegally, that's awesome. We are a country of immigrants, and we want them, but we don't want illegal immigrants because it just doesn't work when you have an open border and anybody can come here, including the bad guys.
How much has the people of Texas, how has their quality of life improved, particularly along the border, ranchers and whatnot? Because I remember the overpass with thousands of immigrants stacked underneath there in tents and all of this. How is the quality of life for Texans changed since Donald Trump took office?
Rob, it's just night and day. I mean, the border was just overrun, and it was draining resources. I mean, even just basic supplies of food and water. When you had people coming to Del Rio, which is a very small town, and you had thousands of people overrunning Del Rio, and of course, safety is a huge concern along the border because there was no control over who was coming. Biden didn't care if they were illegal. He didn't care if they were criminals. So, I mean, it was not a thing for him, but it was a thing for the people on the border that were having to deal with thousands of people walking across their ranches, stealing their stuff, and potentially risking their lives.
Unbelievable. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. It is so nice to touch base with you again. I want you to know we're here for you as you run for Senate. I want to see you move to D.C. We'll hang out together because I live here now. I moved to the Washington, D.C. area.
That sounds awesome. February 17th, early voting starts, and March 3rd, so we need all the help we can get.
All right, and where can people go? Give us your website.
KenPaxton.com. Go donate. Anything you give us helps us because remember, we're fighting the $3 million a week from Washington coming into this state.
KenPaxton.com. God bless, Godspeed. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, my friend. Let's talk soon.
Sounds great. Merry Christmas.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. All right, here we go. What we got here? I've got a thing I want to talk about here before the end of the show. Pardon me. Hold on one second. Yeah. I've got a parody here coming up that I want to play. Hold on one second. Apologize. I've got to focus on the show for a second here. Hold on. Let me grab a song parody. Hold on. I run all my own audio. You see, I've got a computer over here. Here it is. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So we got here. VSCX something or other. They're putting the mRNA vaccine in your food. Okay? That wouldn't surprise me. Let's see. Scarecrow, was my honor to serve this country and its people. Robert Myers, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Tom K says used to... hold on, is it thrown off here? Tom K says, used to see gun racks in the back of pickups in Texas. Yeah, same way when I grew up. 100%. 18 to 20-year-olds have 2A bones to settle with Corny, the senator, okay? Yeah, they are doing Maine, Robert Myers. I know the Somalians are stealing from Maine as well. Yeah, they need to boot them all the hell out, honestly. Everybody who was involved, etc., need to boot them the hell out. It is ridiculous. They've taken taken advantage of our enormous generosity, and I'm done being nice. Blockbuster 2K, good to see you. Blah 13 over there on YouTube. Hi, what's up? Thanks for joining me. We're getting close to Crispy. Deplorable Dinosaur, what's going on? Salty Raiders fan, look at you. I'm a Salty Chiefs fan, although, oh man. All right, here we go.
About 3.5.
Looks like Patrick Mahomes has a torn ACL. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. The Chiefs are done this season. I'm going to be going to a Chiefs game on Christmas Day with my son. So I'm going to be spending a little more time. I'll be focusing more on just being with my son, I'm thinking. Jim Comer calls on the Clintons to appear for the Epstein depositions or face contempt. James Comer, Friday, pressed former President Clinton and Hillary Clinton, nobody's above the law, to appear for depositions in his probe of Jeffrey Epstein, citing their time spent with the late disgraced financier. And also, he has a penchant for younger women. I don't know if you know that. He also likes to stain their dresses. It kind of happens. Jim Gossett.
I'll have a blue Christmas this season.
Got to testify.
And Jim Comer
testify.
He is the reason.
I'd love to see him go to jail for contempt.
says I'll be imprisoned if I don't testify. A perjury charge, should I decide to lie. They want to get my testimony.
Oh, okay, that's what he said, testimony. Okay, say something else.
My excuses for delay have been phony.
Baloney.
They demand that of me and my wife, Hillary. That's why I'll have a blue Christmas.
Yeah, blue Dressmas. Oh, yeah. Jim Gossett, if you want to help him out, go to patreon.com. Jim Gossett Comedy, patreon.com. Jim Gossett Comedy. Give him $10 a month. Give him $20 a month. You're going to get a couple songs every day. The guy's a friggin' genius. I came up with that. No, I coal mining trans coal miner daughter. I came up with that this weekend. I sent it to Jim. Jim threw down, and then he also produced the Blue Clinton Christmas there. He's a friggin' genius. He's a genius. And you're only going to hear it here. I was talking to my friend Mark about saving radio, and he said he typed into his chat GPS, what will save radio? He says, local talk with a sense of humor. There you go. That's what Chat GPS said. Move away from music because everybody provides music. I get your music station as long as they're around. Enjoy them. But talk, the spoken word, local with local radio stations. Obviously, I'm a national show, but you're here with me. And humor. Yeah, we need it, right? Don't we? Hell yeah. Make sure to download the podcast today. Really great stuff, especially with General Blaine Holt on terrorism in the United States. God bless you and yours, Donald Trump, as he makes America great again. And until tomorrow, which is Tuesday, do not catch the stupid, and Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. Don't be afraid. Don't let them take your joy.
This is the right.
All right, you have a good night.
That was a good one.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's